Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Week 5 recap for the Yahoo Fantasy Football League that I am running. And let me just start by saying, what the hell happened this week? How did I lose by that much to the last place team? I don't even know. I just want to point that out. He scored the most. Dude, I don't even know if he broke 100 this entire season. 100 score in a week. I don't even think he broke that. And he gets 218. I have never seen a score that freaking high in fantasy football in my life. And look at Bill did the same thing. Bill actually had the 214. He had the highest for the week. And then Matt had like a player or two on Monday night that actually put him over that Bill's score. 218 points. And Gary with 61. Two completely opposite end of the spectrum there. Brandon only scoring 70 points this week. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know. What other notables? Like I said, Bill, remember losing to Dylan last week. The schedule worked out that he faced them 2 weeks in a row. And this time he came back with a vengeance with a 214 score over Dylan. Still scored really good with a 140. Now, I lost. I scored 148 points. I lost and still had the fourth best score of the entire week. I still had I actually scored .52 over my projected score and got creamed. But thank you, Branding, for losing by 75 because you got shown up as the biggest blowout of the week and not me because mine was 70-point difference. Brandon beat that with 75, losing by 75. I fell to fourth in the standings. We're still in it, no doubt about it. And actually, I'm the only one over 700. Oh my God! Look how much more points I scored than anybody else, and I still lost 2 games. Is that insane or what? Oh, I'm looking at the points against. My bad. Oh, actually, Bill scored. Well, yeah, that 214 would boost him up over. But yeah, actually, looking at that though, the highest scorer in the league is Bill at 2-3. The second highest, by 1 point less, is me with a 742, and I'm 3-2. And you got Terrell scoring only 673 points, almost 70 points less than me, has 1 less loss. It's crazy how it works. Just you face the wrong people in the wrong weeks, man. And that happened. I lost to both Caitlin and Matt, husband and wife, 2 different weeks, in 2 huge blowouts that were completely the luck of the draw of their players doing phenomenal against me all of a sudden. Like, what the hell? I don't even know. I don't even know. We remember recapping a few weeks ago, on week 2, Caitlin's dominating win over me. About how many people scored. Like, Henry scored 50 against me. Just Henry. And then, even Brady had, 30-some points. I'm like, they're well over. Nothing I can do when they're that much over the projected points. That's nothing I can do about it. And hell, like I said, I actually scored higher than my projected score by .52 only, but still, I scored what I was projected, and I still lost. All right. Well, I'm done venting on this page. There's your. Well, you had time to look at the standings. 3 teams at 4-1. Now it's starting to spread out a little bit more. There's 4 different records instead of 3. There's 4-1, 3-2, 2-3, and 1-4. And I actually put Matt winning 2 in a row. Put him from dead last out of the basement 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. Wait a minute. Well, either way, when he was 0-3, he was dead last and winning last week. Oh no, he had 120 last week. That's right. Yeah, so he never broke 100 until last week with a 120, and he freaking gets almost 220 against me. All of a sudden, like, what the hell? Wait till you see the scores their team put up. It's unfreaking believable. I was projected to win that by, I forgot. You'll see in a minute. But, man, that is insane. But I'm still leading the 3-2 against Caitlin. Even though Caitlin beat me, the tiebreaker is the points 4. So, and look at Zach and Terrell are first and third at 4-1, and they both started off with a loss, and they won. They've been winning since, so they won 4 in a row after losing week 1. They still won 4 in a row to jump ahead of pretty much everybody. And Terrell's only behind Andrew by 6 or 7 points for the tiebreak there. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Bill with 743 points, and me with 742, and we're down here in the rankings. It's just like I said, the luck of the draw. Look at my points against. I got the most. I'm the only one that's given up the points, and that's because of the luck of me facing. Like, Caitlin scored 180 against me, and Matt scores 218 against me. All because of one matchup where I just got blown out. I've won every other game by a good margin, but 2 blowouts just bring this score right up, and that's insane, dude. That is crazy. Like, I let up that many points. I let up more than I scored, and I had the 1 point less. Oh my God! My opponent has scored more points against me than anybody's actual points for, and that's all because of 2 games. 2 games were that much of a blowout that it put me giving up 20 points more than I actually scored, and I have the second highest score in the whole. That I don't even know what to say about it. I just don't. I have nothing. I have nothing to say, folks. Nothing to say, except let's move on quick because I've been ranting on for almost 10 minutes of the same thing. So let's actually go through. Here's the breakdown. Now look, projected to win by 22 points. And I lose by 70, and I scored my projected score. I don't know what to do. And it's not like my bench could have really done anything different either. As you see, Heineke scored way less than Hurts. Hurts was the right player in there. And then let's see, 13.6. My running backs scored both scored more than that. I mean, there's nothing I could have done. He even had a 41 point. I just noticed this. A 41.7 on the bench for a tight end scored that much. Dude, he could have had. He could have had almost 240 if he had Andrews in. I've never seen you hardly see a tight end score that many points. 30 over projected on the bench. On the freaking bench. Herbert with 46.8. Doubled his projected score. Metcalf, 9 points over his projected score. Claypool, double his projected score. Nick Chubb, 12 over his projected score. Knox, more than doubled his projected score. Brown, more than doubled the projected score. He's only, and, he's the worst one of the group. He lost, he didn't make up his projected score. He lost, he didn't have it by .99. He sucks. Oh, wait, the Baltimore defense did worse. They scored 2 points under the projected. They were the worst. That's unbelievable. Everybody except for 3 scored over 20. Meanwhile, Hurts, got his projected. I was happy. Corey Davis a little under. He was 10 under. But, Henry made up for a little bit. Harris made up for a little bit. Great running back day, 31 and 22. I thought, until you look on this side, Actually, I had a better running back spot for altogether. And then even Hopkins scored 20.7. He was over his projected. He wasn't that far off. This was close. This was close. Everything was fairly close. As you see, 148 to 148.5. All right, but this 126 in the projected column and 200, almost 100 points higher than the projected score. And he had a 41 on the bench. I don't know what to say on that. What can I do about it? I mean, that's a pretty good score for fantasy football, I think. And it was the fourth best score of the day, but no. Now, what was my grade? Oh, I was looking at the wrong side. Even a B plus is a good score, yet, yeah, that deserves an A plus. I don't even know what to say on that one. But, yeah, it's crazy. Moving over here, though, to Brandon. This is a tough one to look at. Like, he had Teddy Bridgewater actually scored more than Tannehill in this week. 19.6. He could have had him in. But I really don't think the bench could have. No, the bench definitely could not have done anything different. He's got a few players with zeros and out. And, yeah, they just didn't do much. Carolina's defense, though, 14. Cooks with 5.3. He was well under. Hawkinson well under. Literally everybody is under the project. Wow, everybody except for the Carolina defense was higher than the projected score. Or everybody but was under, I mean. Everybody was under the projected score. There's like no double digits in that one. Imagine if he faced Matt in this week. That would have been the hugest blowout in the history of yeah, because Zach that beat him scored 146. I had a 148 and lost. And Zach's 146 won by 75. All right? Like, that's crazy. Lamar Jackson with 43, 38 for Adams. Man, those two alone beat Brandon's score, dude. I'm not even kidding. Oh, my God. That adds up to 80. Almost 80. Just for two players, beat his entire team over here. Damn near beat his entire team and the bench. Whew. My mouth is getting dry. I'm talking so much here. This is crazy. But, yeah, that's insane. I don't even know. But, yeah, Brandon, man, I wish I faced... See, I can't get the luck like that when I'm facing somebody with a low score like that. No, I got to face somebody who scores 218 freaking points in a week. Who hasn't scored even within 100 of that in the first 4 weeks, decides to score 100 points higher than he ever did all season against me. What can I do? I don't know what to do. Anyway, 2 losses. I don't even know. All right, well, hopefully this week is a lot better than that. I am facing Gary this week, so we'll see what happens this coming week here. Gary is 1-4, if I'm not mistaken. And but I can never underestimate anything, because you saw what just happened there. A 1-3 Matt just killed me like I didn't know how to play fantasy football. And then Terrell right here beating my dad. Brown scored nothing. He got no points. He was projected at 3. Man, Tennessee's defense actually would have gave him 17 more points. But I still don't really think anything could have been done differently to help him win. I mean, these scores are very, very good for Terrell here. After losing the first week to me, has won the next 4 weeks and now is 4-1 with this win right here. Prescott, this is the scores here. And that's what that looks like. So we'll move on to the next one. Colby with a 131 and lost after losing the first 2, and then winning 2 in a row. Back in his unlucky losing ways, even though he's projected to win again. He was projected to win almost every week, and just only won 2 of them and lost the other 3. Caitlin with another decent score, 158.04 to 131 victory over Colby. Tom Brady, another freaking almost 40 points this week. And Russell Wilson only with 10. Allen with 13.5. Higgins, 10. Kamara with a decent game, a 30, a 29, and 32 for Eckler. So, I mean, very good running back scores for Kobe this week, but no help from anything else. Really, the tight end didn't do much either, but on either side, the highest tight end in this matchup was 2.2. So the tight end did no help on either team. Clearly didn't need to on Caitlin's side, really, but all because of freaking Brady. Antonio Brown also 33.4 points. He had 2 touchdowns in that. So between Brady and Brown is what helped Caitlin win as I'm looking at it. Eckler and Kamara tried to keep it close, but nobody else was helping out. So, the bench. I didn't open the bench players. So, yeah, actually, Colby had... Yeah, this... If he had Woods in instead of Higgins, that's 17 points, that would have been a win. No, it wouldn't have. It would have been 148. Still would have been short. How about Burrow? Yeah, Burrow was 12. If he had Burrow in also, he would have won. Burrow scored 22.3 in the loss against Green Bay in overtime. Man, what a game that was, because they traded missed field goals left and right, man. They went through the entire overtime. They both missed a field goal in regulation at the end of the game on both sides. Both missed a field goal in overtime. And then Green Bay actually kicked a game-winning field goal with like 3 seconds left at the end of the game. So Crosby made up for his 2 missed field goals before that and actually won the game. But it took a lot longer than it should have. And she had Jameis Winston on the bench with a 30 and scored less than Brady. So even that move wouldn't have done any different. It would have hurt her, actually. So, yeah, Brady in, scoring 40 points, beating Miami, a team he's familiar with. So let's move on to this one. Andrew beating Gary 134 to 61. Now this was a huge. This is the biggest bad luck, the most bad luck you can possibly have in a week. All right. Daniel Jones got knocked out of the game early against Dallas with a concussion. Only scoring 4.8. He was out very early in the game, so that pretty much killed this score right here. 1 week, Daniel Jones goes in. I try to talk. Well, even Goff, though, didn't score much higher, so that really wouldn't even have been much different, actually. Goff only scored 7.1. But anyway, up here, Daniel Jones got knocked out of the game with an injury. Galladay also knocked out of the game with an injury with nothing. He got knocked out of the game, couldn't play. And Barkley gets knocked out of the game after only scoring 0.9 rush yards. He gets hurt. 3 Giant players hurt in the same game with very low scores and didn't get a chance to help him. So 3 injuries for Gary in 1 week. So that was definitely not going to do, especially when it's a wide receiver, a running back, and a quarterback. Literally your 3 best positions to score. Meanwhile, on the other side, you got Taylor over here with 33, scoring the most points for Andrew over here. And Stafford with 18.5 in another win for the Rams. They're 4-1 now. And beating Seattle. That was I believe the Thursday night game, right? Was that the Thursday night game? I can't remember. Kupp only scoring 16 this week. Kupp has been scoring a crazy amount of points lately. But, that's the scores there. Sutton on the bench with 25. He could have been in instead of Robinson. Could have helped. Well, he didn't need help, so it doesn't matter. So, final matchup to go over real quick. Bill and Dylan. Now, look at Bill's scores. All but Tampa Bay scored double digits. All but Tampa Bay's defense scored double digits in that game. Let's see. Even outscored him on the bench here. 22 for Pittman, even scored more than Lamb, actually. And that was really the only 2 points. The rest definitely well worse than up here. So Bill had the right players in this week. Josh Allen, 40 points, 315 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Lamb with 20, Williams with 40.5, Kareem Hunt with 25. He scored 2 touchdowns. Jacobs with 16.7, Kelsey with 17.7, Jamar Chase with 30, Zerline with 14. And Tampa Bay's defense only scoring 8 points. But there's no beating that score. That is a crazy team effort over there as well. So 2 teams this week scoring over 200. After Bill lost to Dylan last week, dominating win this week to split the series between them two, 1-1, and Bill jumps to 2-3 record, and Dylan will fall to 3-2. And Mahomes only scoring 20.9 in their loss to Buffalo on Sunday night. And now that was, it's crazy that the Chiefs are at the bottom of the standings at 2-3. Did not see that coming, but it did. It happened, and that's where we stand right now. So that's the way that looked. And we look over here, back at the standings after week number 5. And then there's your scores for the week. The Rams a 26-17 win on Thursday night. Atlanta beat the Jets in London in the morning, 9:30 a.m. game on Sunday. There's also one more London game this week at 9:30 or 9 a.m. this week. So another Sunday morning game to look forward to this week coming up here. Green Bay 25-22 win in overtime. Final 5th. What's that mean? What's 5th mean? Because, well, obviously these both were overtime games, but it says 5th. I don't know why it says 5th. Minnesota beating Detroit. Pittsburgh winning over Denver. Denver falls to 3-2. Tampa Bay, and actually Pittsburgh jumps to 2-3 with that win. Tampa Bay beating Miami 45-17. Saints 33-22. Eagles 21-18 over Carolina. That was a tough loss for Carolina, but a good comeback for the Eagles. They were down 18-3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And the Eagles came back in the fourth quarter to win that game. My Titans pulling out the victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars, 37-19. Needed that because we have the Bills this week on Monday night. And then the Chiefs after that. I know the Chiefs are not playing that well right now, but I don't want to catch them at the wrong week, because if they're playing so bad right now, they're going to turn around at some point and watch it be against us. I'm not looking forward to that point. But their defense is almost worse than my defense. So that might be the only benefit the Titans have. The Chiefs' defense is really bad. I don't even think the Titans' defense is that good either. But I think they're better than the Chiefs' defense. Chiefs' defense gave up 38 points. Our defense gave up a lot of points against Arizona. But other than that, they've been okay. I don't know. But, I know this is not NFL related. But let me just point this out real quick. Since we're covering this week of football, let me just say, hell yeah, Texas A&M beating Alabama. What a win. What a big freaking win that was. I'm a huge Texas A&M fan. I always have been. Back when they were in the Big 12. All right, that's a long time. And I was happy when they beat them with Manziel way back. But it's been a long time since we beat Alabama. And hell yeah, what a freaking game that was. Talk about a hell of a defense holding Alabama to 2 field goals late, where they could have scored 2 touchdowns in put the game away a little bit. They held them to 2 field goals and held on the lead by 1 point. Instead of getting tied up, it went into a 4-point game, and then instead of going ahead, they held them another field goal to make it. They were still ahead by 1, and they did score. Alabama did score after that to go up 38-31 with a 2-point conversion, and then A&M came right back down the field after their second half was not that good at all. Not good at all. But they managed to, and once they got behind, they came back, tied it up, and got the ball back, drove down the field goal range, and kicked a game-winning field goal, and won 41-38. Hell yeah, what a game! Oh, I was so excited. I was playing Ark for that, and I was screaming. That was funny. But anyway, I had to get that off my chest because that was awesome. It makes me think what could have been, because if we beat Alabama, dude, we could have been 5-0 if we only beat Arkansas and Mississippi State. We beat the best team in the country after 2 losses in a row that we could have won, that weren't as good of teams as Alabama was. But we lost to them and came back after 2 straight losses. After a 3-0 start, that Alabama almost could have easily been fallen to 3-3 after starting off 3-0, losing 3 in a row. But no, they avoided the 3rd straight loss to win, to go to 4-2. They're back inside the top 25. Anyway, let's talk about NFL now, because let me just finish this up here real quick. As we see, where did I leave off here? We are at New England beat Houston. Chicago beating the Raiders, so the Raiders lost too. I didn't realize all the AFC South lost, or AFC West. All the AFC West lost this week. Oh no, except for the Chargers. The Chargers won. Chargers beat Cleveland. That was a good game too. Cleveland, I think Mayfield. Oh yeah, let me see something. His dad had Mayfield, didn't he? How did Mayfield? Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's what it was. The whole entire team, I think, they said, had 500 yards, over 500 yards, 0 turnovers, and lost. I think that they were the first team ever to lose with 500-plus total yards and 0 turnovers. It was like 400 and something and 0. With a team with that stat has never lost until last week with the Browns. That was crazy as well. Dallas beat the Giants big time, 44-20. And Arizona staying undefeated at 5-0, still the only undefeated team left after last week, are still undefeated after beating San Francisco. Buffalo beat the Chiefs on Sunday night, and Monday night Baltimore was down 25-9, I think it was when I looked, in the 4th quarter with 12 minutes left. Somehow came back, tied the game, and won it in overtime. I cannot stand Baltimore, but at the same time, an Indianapolis loss was huge because we have a 2-game lead in the division, which is well needed with the Bills and the Chiefs coming up for us. So, in a way, I guess I'm kind of glad Baltimore won, but I hate Baltimore as well. But their streak ended as well. They tied the record last week with the rushing over, or certain amount of straight games with a rushing over 100 for the team. They tied it last week because they picked the ball off with 1 second left, and instead of kneeling the ball, they only needed 1 yard to get 100. And instead of kneeling the ball, they ran it to try to get that yard to keep the streak going. They did that last week to tie the Steelers' old record. But then they actually lost. They didn't get 100 yards this week, so they lost it. They never broke the record. They just ended with a tie. So their streak thing that they had going is over, as well as the Steelers' sack streak. All right, so that's pretty much everything. Let's see. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Schedule for this week here is I got Gary this week. I'm facing Gary. Brandon is going against Bill. Brandon scored the lowest points last week, going against, practically the highest score by only 4 points less than the highest score. So literally a team that scored 214 or whatever it was against a team that scored 70 last week. So good luck, Brandon. Might need it after that. Brandon went 1-0 after week 1, lost 4 straight. In a struggling mode right now, Brandon is. Terrell lost the first week against me and then won ever since. He's going against Caitlin, who is a very tricky team. You saw what happening right here. Look at, see my win, good win. My loss, highest score of the week. I lost against the highest score of the entire week. My other lost against the highest score of the entire week. Even though I've been scoring, my lowest score is 127. And then if you look down at Matt's, his highest score scored is 120. That, or before this, not counting this one, first 4 weeks, his highest score was 120. My lowest is 127. Yet he beat me by that. I can't get over it, dude. I can't. I can't catch a break. I really cannot catch a break. So down here to Zach, looks exactly like Terrell's. Lost the first week against Andrew in a very close matchup. Only lost by 3 points. He was 3 points away from being undefeated at 5-0. Beating Colby, Matt, Gary, and Brandon as my dad this week, Caitlin next week, and then faces me in week 8, then Terrell, and then Dylan is the rivalry week. Week 10 is the rivalry week. That's when I face Brandon. I go against Brandon. I put me and Brandon for the rivalry week. And I put Terrell is with Bill. My dad is against my uncle. Since they're twins, I thought that was a good rivalry week. And then I put Matt and Caitlin, husband and wife, in rivalry week. So I set rivalry week to do those things. I thought it was going to be pretty fun. That's the only day I edited, unless I had to change a couple little quick things because I didn't want anybody facing somebody 3 times. I had to edit because I moved that. I had to edit a couple little quick things. I don't remember if I happened to edit the whole thing with Bill facing Dylan twice in a row. I don't remember seeing that, but I mean they would have faced each other twice anyway. They just got both of them done already, and they don't face each other again the whole rest of the season. I actually faced Bill twice this year. I faced him in week 14, which could come down. We both got good teams, and that could come down to playoff situation right here. Hopefully, with our good teams that we both have, hopefully we'll both be pretty solidly in the playoff. That'll be just for position. But let's see, back to Colby. He lost to Gary in week 1 in a huge upset. The most points Gary scored all season happened to be against Colby. Lost to Zach the week after. And then beat Brandon and my dad and lost to Caitlin. And is facing Matt this week, who I just got creamed by from him scoring 218 points. Andrew won against Zach, Bill, and Gary and lost his first one to me last week. Suffering his first loss. And then he beat Gary last week. He's facing Dylan here. Brandon next week. And then my dad. My dad has had Brandon in week 1, lost. His one win was against Matt in week 2, then lost to Caitlin, Colby, and Terrell, and now has Zach, Bill next week, and then Andrew, and then he faces me, and then Gary. So, and then Brandon again in week 12. So he's at 1-4 right now. Matt is at 2-3 with 2 straight wins. Look at this. One of these things is not like the others. I scored more against him. I scored more than he did all season. And he beat me by 70. That's just sad. It really is. He's facing Colby this week. Gary next week. That'll be interesting because I think the two lowest scoring team. Not well. If you take this 218 away, he's got one of the lowest scoring teams. Going against one of the other low scoring teams, so that should be an interesting matchup to watch between Matt and Gary. And then Bill had a nice win to start off his fantasy career. He's never played before this year. Neither has my dad or Gary. Both have never played before this year. I tried to get them into it. That's why I started it too, to try to get them to play and give it a try. So that's why I wanted to start my own to get them in. My uncle, my other uncle Gary, and then my dad, and then I got a couple of friends in and cousin obviously. So, well, me and Brandon been doing fantasy a few years. So, me and Brandon were in the one last year on this, but it wasn't mine. I was in Melanie's. So, which I tried to get her into this, but she didn't this year. But yeah, after Bill's win in week 1, Andrew lost to Andrew, me, and Dylan the first time, and then beat Dylan last week. Has Brandon this week. So my cousin and my uncle going against each other. I already texted both of them. So, you're going against him. You're going against him. Because they were talking a lot last couple weeks about the fantasy. But I wonder what they'll be saying this week facing each other. I already faced Bill once. I do face him a second time. However, way down here. Here to go to Caitlin. Lost to Dylan in week 1. Crushed me. And then beat my dad. And then lost to Matt. And then beat Colby. Has Terrell this week. Terrell is one of the 4-1 teams left. So can she beat Terrell? Or is Terrell going to go to 5-1? After actually missing the draft, it kind of drafted for him. He didn't even draft him, and he's got a 4-1 record. Dylan lost the first week. Wait, I thought I hit Dylan. All right, Dylan won the first week, beat Brandon the second week. So 2-0 start. Lost to Terrell, beat Bill the first time, and then lost last week. Has Andrew this week, and then me next week. I go against Dylan, and then he faces Gary the week after that, and then Matt. And last but not least, let's see Gary's schedule here. Winning the first week with a huge upset. And then lost to Terrell, Andrew, Zach, and Andrew again. Oh, he actually faced Andrew twice already, too. So he actually faced somebody twice. I did actually see that one where, he was 3-5. But I never noticed that Bill and Dylan were facing each other 2 weeks in a row. I never noticed that until last week when I saw it. I'm like, didn't they just face? And I was like, oh, look at that. I did see this one though, but it doesn't bother me. I don't care if I face somebody 2 weeks in a row, because you're probably gonna face them twice anyway. The way the schedule was working out, it just happened to be the back-to-back weeks. So that's the way it looks. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and we'll see you for week number 6, and that will do it. For week number 5 recap, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. See you later.